Karbala, a name that signifies not merely a battlefield, but a timeless symbol of loyalty, sacrifice, truth, and the unyielding struggle for justice. In this video, we won't just recount the tragedy of Karbala, we'll explore the genealogy of those noble martyrs, particularly from the family of al-Bayt, including Imam Ali and his brothers, those who sacrificed everything for the religion of Prophet Muhammad. We'll examine who among Abu Talib's children were present in Karbala, how many sons of Imam Ali were martyred there, which sons of Imam Ali's brothers also stood on the battlefield. To understand this sacred family, we begin with Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet and father of Imam Ali. He is regarded as the greatest supporter of the Prophet, standing firm like a mountain against the Quraysh's tyranny. He ordered all his sons to stand with the Prophet. Abu Talib, the chief of Banu Hashim, was the father of Jafar and Ali. After the death of his father, Abd al-Muttalib, he inherited this position as tribal chieftain, and the offices of Sikaya and Rifada. He was one of the most respected personalities in Makkah. His wife, Fatima bint Asad, raised the Prophet, peace be upon him, like her own son for 17 years. It is said she loved him more than her own children. She was the second woman to accept Islam after Khadija, first wife of Prophet Muhammad. Abu Talib and Fatima bint Asad had 4 sons and 2 daughters, Talib, Akil, Jafar, and Ali. The eldest son, Talib, was born in Makkah. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent part of his childhood in their house. Talib was reportedly 10 years older than Akil and 30 years older than Ali. There is not much information about the life of Talib. According to sources, in 624 CE, Talib left with the Quraysh army to protect a caravan from Muslim raids. Although the caravan returned safely, some Quraysh still pushed forward to Badr. Talib was compelled to join, but did not fight. One man from Quraysh said to him, "O son of Hashim, though you are with us, your heart is with Muhammad, peace be upon him." So Talib turned back to Mecca, or according to some, he left for Syria and never returned. He had no children. The Martyrs of Karbala came from the lines of Akil, Jafar, and Ali. Let's first see the descendants of Akil ibn Abi Talib. Akil, cousin of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and brother of Imam Ali, passed away before Karbala, but nearly all of his sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons were martyred in the tragedy. Some Somali Arab tribes today claim descent from him. His eldest son, Muslim ibn Aqeel, was sent by Imam Hussain as his envoy to Kufa. Muslim invited the Imam based on support promised by Kufans. However, Ibn Ziyad, the governor appointed by Yazid, captured and publicly executed him by beheading him atop a palace wall, alongside Hani ibn Urwa, his host in Kufa. These were the first 2 heads sent to Yazid's court. Muslim's eldest son, Muslim ibn Muslim, was also martyred in Kufa. 2 other sons, Abdullah and Aun, fought beside Imam Hussain in Karbala. Abdullah, only 14, was among the first martyrs on the day of Ashura, killed by an arrow to the forehead. Muslim also had 2 more sons, Muhammad and Ibrahim. They were martyred about a year after Karbala. After escaping captivity, they were caught by Harith ibn Badr in Kufa, who killed them to claim a reward from Ibn Ziyad. 2 young bodies were seen floating away in the waters of the river Euphrates. Another of Akil's sons, Abdurrahman ibn Aqeel, he was a nephew and a son-in-law of the Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. Abdurrahman entered the battlefield at the army of Hussain on the day of Ashura. In the Battle of Karbala, Abdurrahman killed 17 cavalry units from the army of Umar ibn Saad, but was eventually killed by Uthman ibn Khalid ibn Rashim. Not much is known about his life, but according to the author of the Labab al-Ansab, he was killed at the age of 35. Jafar ibn Akil, he entered the battlefield after Abdullah, and he killed 15 fighters of the army of Umar ibn Saad. He was killed by Bishr ibn Salt al-Hamdani, or Khalid ibn Asad al-Juhani in the Battle of Karbala on the day of Ashura. Now, we see the descendants of Jafar al-Tayyar. Jafar, brother of Ali and cousin of the Prophet, peace be upon him, was martyred in the Battle of Mu'tah against the Byzantines, where both of his arms were cut off. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, called him al-Tayyar, the flyer. When the news reached Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he wept and prayed for Jafar's soul. He later reported that the angel Jibril came down to console him, saying, Jafar was a brave and loyal soldier. God has given him everlasting life, and in place of his arms which were cut off in the battle, the Lord has given him a pair of wings. Thereafter, Jafar had the byname Dhul Janahin, means the winged. Jafar had 4 sons, 2 of whom, Aun and Muhammad, were martyred in the Battle of Karbala. Another son, Muhammad al-Akbar, was martyred earlier in the Battle of Siffin, fighting against the Umayyad forces. Their eldest brother, Abdullah, was ill and couldn't attend Karbala. When Hussain ibn Ali moved from Mecca to Medina, Abdullah ibn Jaffar wrote a letter to Hussain and tried to change his mind. He sent the letter through his sons Muhammad and Aun. But when Abdullah ibn Jaffar realized that the Imam is determined to go, he advised Muhammad and Aun to accompany Hussain ibn Ali. His sons, Aun and Muhammad, fought beside their mother Lady Zainab and embraced martyrdom. Muhammad fought bravely and killed 10 warriors of the enemy's army, but at the end was killed by Amir ibn Nashal al-Tamimi. After Muhammad was martyred, Aun went to the battlefield. According to Ibn Shar Ashub, he killed 3 horsemen and 18 foot soldiers from the army of Umar ibn Sa'd, and finally was martyred by Abdullah ibn Qutbah. Let's move to descendants of Imam Ali. Ali, the youngest of Abu Talib. Ali was raised by his elder cousin, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and was among the first to accept his teachings. He was the 4th Rashidun Caliph, who ruled from 656 CE until his assassination in 661, as well as the first Shia Imam. However, he is also regarded by Sunnis as Imam. Imam Ali had 9 wives and at least 14 sons. Around 8 sons and many grandsons were martyred at Karbala. Even after Karbala, the al-Bayt, household of the Prophet Muhammad, continued to face persecution under the Umayyads and Abbasids. Imam Hassan, the eldest son of Ali, briefly ruled as the 5th Caliph and is regarded as the 2nd Imam by Shias. However, he is also regarded by Sunnis as Imam. As a grandson of the Prophet, he is part of the al-Bayt and the al-Kisa, and also participated in the event of the Mubahala. Hassan ibn Ali abdicated in favor of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan in order to prevent further bloodshed during the First Civil War. He signed a peace treaty with Muawiyah on the conditions that Muawiyah would govern according to the Quran and the Sunnah, that a council would appoint his successor, and that Hassan's supporters would be granted amnesty. After the treaty, Hassan withdrew from politics and lived a quiet life in Medina. Later, he was poisoned and martyred in 670 CE. Of his sons, 7 were present in Karbala. 4 were martyred, including Qasim ibn Hassan, who was 13 years old. He went to the battlefield and killed many fighters. A man came from behind and struck Qasim on the head. He fell to the ground, bleeding heavily. He called out for his uncle. Hussein and Abbas rushed over. The army of Yazid got scared, thinking they were coming to attack them, creating confusion. Horses began running from one side to another, trampling and killing Qasim. Hussein and Abbas called out for him, but no reply came. When they found his body, Hussain took off his abba and with Abbas collected his remains. Another son, Abu Bakr ibn Hassan, he was martyred by an arrow shot fired by Abdullah ibn Uqba al-Ghanawi. Abdullah ibn al-Hassan was 11 years old when he was martyred in the Battle of Karbala. During the final moments of Hussain ibn Ali's life, Bahar ibn Ka'ab was about to strike him. When Abdullah rushed out of the tents, he stepped between them, shielding Hussain from the blow. The sword struck Abdullah's hand, severing it so that it hung limp. Hussain embraced his nephew, pulling him to his chest. At that moment, Harmala ibn Kahil shot an arrow at Abdullah, killing him in his uncle's arms. Bishr ibn Hassan, he is considered to be one of the martyrs of the Battle of Karbala. Another son of Imam Hussain, Hassan al-Muthana, was also present at the Battle of Karbala. On the day of Ashura, he fought alongside Imam Hussain and was severely wounded before being taken captive. His maternal uncle, Asma ibn Kharija al-Fazari, intervened and saved him. He was treated in Kufa, and after recovering, he returned to Medina. Hassan al-Muthana lived on, and many present-day Hassani Sayyids, including Abdul Qadir Jilani, trace their lineage through him. Imam Hussain ibn Ali, the younger brother of Hassan, he is the third Imam and refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid, whom Muawiyah had appointed as his successor, marking the first dynastic rule in Islamic history. To legitimize his rule, Yazid demanded Hussein's allegiance. Imam Hussain refused, migrated to Mecca, and later responded to Kufan calls for leadership. On Hussein's way to Kufa, with a retinue of about 72 men, his caravan was intercepted by a 1,000-strong army of the Caliph at some distance from Kufa. He was forced to head north and encamp in the plain of Karbala, where a larger Umayyad army of some 30,000 arrived soon afterwards. Water supply was cut off, and after 3 days of thirst, a 30,000-strong army attacked the 72 companions. Most were martyred, the survivors were taken captive. This sacrifice for Islam's dignity remains unmatched in history. Imam Hussain had 3 sons. 2 were martyred in Battle of Karbala. The first was Ali Akbar, aged around 18 to 25, who bore a striking resemblance, in both appearance and character, to his great-grandfather, the Prophet Muhamad, peace be upon him. Ali Akbar is said to have charged multiple times at the enemy lines. After one of his charges, he returned from the battlefield, injured and parched with thirst, and complained of thirst. Hussain consoled him that his thirst would soon be quenched at the hands of his great-grandfather, Muhammad. Ali Akbar then returned to fight and was finally felled by Murrah ibn Sa'd, who is said to have struck Ali from behind. He fell and was surrounded by Umayyad soldiers who cut him to pieces. In most reports, his killer is named Murrah ibn Munkid al-Abdi. The next son was Ali Asghar, an infant, who was martyred in his father's arms by an arrow while crying from thirst, just as Hussain was preparing to bid farewell to his family and enter the battlefield. Ali Zain al-Abideen, the third son, was also present there in the Battle of Karbala, but was too ill to fight. After killing Hussain and his male relatives and supporters, the Umayyad troops looted his camp, and some were intent on killing al-Sajjad, but his life was ultimately spared. After the battle, al-Sajjad and the women were taken prisoner and marched to the nearby Kufa. They were badly treated along the way. He later became the 4th Shia Imam, and the lineage of the later Imams continued through him. Abbas, the standard-bearer, was renowned for his courage and loyalty. He is said to have inherited the bravery and valor of his father, Ali ibn Abi Talib, and was praised for his unwavering faith and fortitude in defending Imam Hussain. Distressed by the cries of the thirsty children in Hussein's camp, Abbas set out toward the Euphrates on the eve of Ashura. He successfully filled his water skin, but was intercepted by the enemy near the riverbank, far from the camp. Fighting alone and fiercely, both of his arms were severed before he was ultimately martyred. With the fall of Abbas, the last of Hussein's warriors, the Umayyad army closed in on the lone Imam, who continued to fight valiantly until he too was martyred. Abbas's 19-year-old son, Qasim ibn Abbas, was also martyred in Karbala. At the time of his death, he was 19 years old. His other son, Ubaydullah ibn Abbas, survived and is considered the ancestor of many Alawi and Awan tribes today. Other sons of Imam Ali who were martyred at Karbala include Jafar ibn Ali, Abdullah ibn Ali, Abu Bakr ibn Ali, Uthman ibn Ali, Omar ibn Ali, and Muhammad ibn Ali. The sacrifice of Imam Hussain and his family is remembered with reverence by Muslims of all sects. Their martyrdom for the cause of Islam is unmatched in history and will be remembered until the end of time. If this touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more from history. Curious about the family tree of Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei? Tap the video on your screen to explore it now.